Welcome back to Innovation Nation, folks. Today we're going to be talking about how you capture innovation value as a business. Now, there are always two things that are required to capture innovation outside of the mindsets that we've talked about. Those two things start with an ideal innovation partner client. If you are working with a client who does not have the right innovation mindset, it can be really difficult to climb that level of the value pyramid together. So what does it look like to be an ideal innovation partner for us? Well, the first thing is they have to be collaborative. Now, we talked about collaboration inside of our three uniques. The collaborative experience. That's what we are going to do for our clients. But if we're going to have a collaborative experience, we also need to have a collaborative client. What does that mean? Well, inside of most businesses today, and this is not my information, this is done with many different studies by people like Gardner Research and Kinsey Consulting, that inside of industrial and larger businesses, the decision-making processes are becoming more and more complex. What does that mean? Well, it means there's many stakeholders involved in almost any decision to spend money, to hire a new contractor, to change their systems. And so we know that it takes, according to Gardner and according to Kinsey, that it's somewhere between 6, 7, 8 different stakeholders who have significant influence in the process of deciding what's going to happen. And so inside of our business and inside of industrial businesses and inside of other B2B businesses who work inside of similar spaces, there are many stakeholders. Now, those stakeholders in our case happen to be what I would call the utilizers, the people who are going to be working directly with us to be in the field to utilize the work that we do. But there are many other stakeholders. Someone owns the budget. Someone's responsible for implementing that budget, the project manager. There is a whole team of people who have a lot of input on specifications and technicalities, contracts, legal, engineering, quality, inspection. What I found over my entire career is that when you miss getting in alignment with one of those stakeholders, the whole project can go well and the project will end badly. If you don't have your right billing system, if you don't have the right change order system, if you don't have the right quality documentation or inspection calibrations, all of these things can have a big impact on success, and they can have a detrimental impact on project failure and perception of success. And so when we are looking to create innovation and capture value for our clients through innovation, it's key that our clients have a collaborative mindset, that we have interactions before transaction. We want to be able to talk to the key stakeholders, know what they care about, and really be able to navigate through exactly how we can help you solve what you need to solve by having interactions with all of those stakeholders. And that collaborative mindset means that you see the collaboration not as a roadblock, but as the method of actually developing the solution. So that's step one, the first attribute of an ideal innovation partner. The next one is an absolute for us, that we want partners in innovation who have a strong safety culture. It's not negotiable for us. We will not take on clients who don't believe what we believe. We're not talking about policy. We're talking about culture. Culture is not what is written down. Culture is what is believed. Culture in safety are the normal practices, the practice behaviors, the actions from the frontline workers, the supervisors, the managers, and the leadership are all involved hand in hand in a strong safety culture. The best way I could describe that is when you have a strong safety culture, or when your client has a strong safety culture, you can feel it. You can feel that this is where you want to be. So we're looking for innovation client partners who have a strong safety culture and absolute commitment at all levels of the business to protecting everyone so that no one ever gets hurt. Value first. We are looking for innovation partners who are seeking transformational and key outcomes value that we discussed in earlier conversations. Well, what does that mean? It doesn't mean that price doesn't matter. It absolutely does. But price doesn't come first. When we are looking for value first, we are looking at people who are engaging with us with innovation and technology. The gear. We are looking for people who value our input and our innovative ideas. The light bulb. And we value people who understand that when you combine innovation and technology and innovation and delivery, that you get a much higher value out of that project than its contributing parts. That higher value is the diamond. We're looking for conversations with people who are seeking value, level 3 and level 4 value, and are putting value first, then price. And having that kind of an informed conversation about the impact of what we are going to do and the way we're going to do it and the innovation that we are going to bring is going to have on the success of the project, of the transformation on that site and changing how things are done and creating that elegant value that is higher than its contributing parts. So we're looking for people who are seeking value first. Now, when you combine these three things together, collaborative stakeholders, a strong safety culture, and a value-first mindset, this is the innovation creation mindset that combined together creates this ideal innovation partner. Once we have that, these three belief system mindsets, we now have an ideal partner to move forward. And how? What is the next thing we do? Well, you need to have a repeatable process to capture value. Repeatable innovation process. For us, that is the Value Optimizer method. Now, this applies to all of our businesses. We have a version of this called the Turnaround Optimizer process that specifically focuses in on turnarounds. But the Value Optimizer method is the way that we apply this to everything that we do. So let's go through the process, the repeatable process that guarantees we capture level 3 and level 4 value and implement all of the innovation that we as partners together wish out of any given project. So it's a 6-step process. Find a fit, collaborate, optimize, share, perform, and transform. And when we do these 6 things together, we have a proven process that optimizes execution with transparency, and it creates improvements in safety, in productivity, and in cost effectiveness. Let's go through each of these steps in a little more detail. We call it the Value Optimizer method. Find a fit. Find a fit is the beginning of every conversation when there's a new piece of business and a new need from our customers. Now, it starts off with really uncovering what you want, and it's also about uncovering what are the results you're looking for. The want connection to the results. Often, and this is a new phenomenon over the last 15 years or so, but the internet has given us a ton of power to look at every product and every service you could ever possibly imagine. But it creates a bit of a cognitive bias for all of us. What that results in today in the 21st century is that many clients call and they're on third base in the game of baseball. They're ready to run home. They call, they know what they want a quote. Now, that is often perfectly fine when it's a smaller piece of business. But as I pointed out earlier, collaboration is so important to give you the best fit. What we want to do is move the conversation a little deeper and try to uncover what is needed to get the result, not just what you want, because sometimes you don't know everything about the particular service line and what is now available. And what we've found often is if we simply just quote and we give the customer you what you ask for, and then later you discover that we could have done it a different way, there's actually a why didn't you tell us? Now, one of the studies that we did, we found that more than 90% of our clients only know 2 to 3 of the things that we can do. And often when we introduce a new technology, a new capability, that we've probably talked to them about it a dozen times, that they say, why didn't you tell me about that before? Well, and that we had, but as my coach Dan Sullivan says, that the eyes only see and the ears only hear what the mind is looking for. And so if you don't know that there's a new way to manage bolting, or there's a new way to inspect flanges, or there's a totally revolutionary way to install a valve or to remove welding from the installation of a flange, then you're not going to be looking for it and seeing it. So hopefully this video series will be part of helping you look for and listen for new innovations. But the reality is most of our clients call and we all have these cognitive bias that form habits of what we think we need. Our job is to move past that a little bit to uncover what is actually needed to get the result. So we go from want to need and tie them together to make sure that what we're going to be providing you is the best solution to get the result you want. So the find a fit is the process to clarify and get alignment on wants, needs, and results to fit the puzzle pieces together so that we give you the best solution for what you're trying to accomplish. Often when we talk with clients, what they want is actually simply a symptom of a higher level yet undefined outcome. Price is also often a third base level want from an undefined key outcome. So in this phase, in find a fit, the value that we are trying to create is the value is created by uncovering and discovering the best fit, not simply by quoting the scope. This is a conversation that is going to simply make sure that we ask all the right questions to fit the puzzle pieces together to give you the best solution. The next step in our process involves collaboration. We've talked about this several times in this series, but one of our cultural values is that collaboration is the product of good, if not great, communication. And so we're going to collaborate. We're going to use our collaborative approach, and we're going to work with collaborative clients in a way that is going to make sure that after we found the right fit, that we're going to define success. Projects today struggle to create great results. Why is that? One of the reasons is the old Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule. Sometimes it's the 10-90 rule, that the last 20% of the job, sometimes the last 10% of the job, seems to take 90% of the effort and all of the pain and frustration. What we want to do in our collaborate phase is eliminate as much of that uncertainty as possible and bring the project into clarity and more certainty away from uncertainty. Why do these things happen? Well, management of change is a struggle for projects. Getting clarity on expectations between different stakeholders. The speed of decisions can be a challenge to get great results, and the speed of information sharing is a problem. Often, the goals, the outcomes in projects are aspirational. Things like on time, on budget, safe. They're subjective. They mean nothing to the people who don't have that deeper conversation. We want to have that deeper conversation to get into specific, defined goals and move past the aspirational, subjective platitudes that are often what happens when you simply say, what matters in this project? Everyone says on time, on budget, everybody's safe. What does on time mean? What does on time mean to us versus you as the general contractor or you as the owner? On time means a lot of different things. Oil in, oil out, first mechanical day, last mechanical day, when it's signed off, when you mobilize, when you demobilize. On time means something different for every single stakeholder. On budget, whose budget? My budget? Your budget? The overall spend budget? It's important in Collaborate that we get into specifics of what the goals are. Not only that, but each stakeholder has different defined and specific outcomes. Somebody in quality probably doesn't care about the overall project budget, but they do probably care about the last 3 NCRs and the fact that they never ever want to have a hydro test without a calibrated gauge, or that they want to make sure that the ITPs are in place. These small things are successes or failures for each stakeholder, and we want to understand and collaborate with each of the stakeholders to get them to give us defined measurables. The way we do that, we can do this either through a project clarifier meeting and something that we call a risk conversation, either as a group or with each stakeholder. What I find when I do a group risk meeting with an entire project team, which is somewhere between 5 and 10 key stakeholders, usually, it's the first time that they were ever able to really articulate the end of the project success from their point of view with their peers, because often it is a top-down exercise. But when you get contracts and project controls and safety and engineering and inspection and quality and the execution teams and the project leadership all having a clarifier meeting and having a risk conversation, it's incredible the value that's created and the certainty that is created in the project. In Collaborate, the value is created by capturing multiple stakeholders' unique needs and specifically defined project measurables. We believe that success starts with great planning. Now, I didn't say success starts with a great plan. Peter Drucker, who is a world-renowned management thinker, was a world-renowned management thinker, said that plans are useless, but planning is priceless. And this phase, the optimize phase, is all about the planning. Planning the project in advance is so key. I don't know how many projects I've been on, particularly larger projects, where the planning is done by the client, but not by the specialty contractor. And your job is to show up and try to execute. Or they give you packages and you're given all the tasks, and it's about getting a best cost estimate. All of those things are super important, by the way. But if they are done in replacement of the time and the energy put into the planning, then they don't create the right kind of value. In the optimize phase, we are using the turnaround optimizer method, and we are using the optimize principles inside of our unique system. This idea of, when we're always planning and always proactive and never in react mode, what we are trying to do inside of Optimize is spotting and planning all of the critical path activities in the project as it relates to our work and how it's going to interact with everybody else. We're always seeking the best value to increase productivity and cost effectiveness using our unique job task digitization system. We're taking your Primavera, your project task, and we're breaking it down into its component subtasks that are really our individual service line tasks. We're matching that up so that we are seeking to have the fewest people on the job with the integrated competency system. What we're doing in Optimize is we're mapping people's competency skills to those subtasks that we've created in job task digitization. We're proactively thinking about found working contingencies about craft and asset decel. We're asking and planning for probabilities. And then we are mapping all of our assets to every single task. We're effectively, from a construction mindset standpoint, thinking about all of the assets we're going to bring to the project with the schedule in mind, and bagging and tagging and assigning equipment to all of the various places where it's going to be utilized, so we can make sure we have everything we need when we need it, with contingencies and looking for duplication. Now, lots of this can be done manually, but we've developed the system to layer all this in digitally so that we digitize the tool, we digitize the tasks, we map the tasks to the skills, we map the tasks to the assets, and then we develop all of the automated reporting and dashboard scorecards that everyone on your team told us about in the collaborate phase of what matters to them. What matters in cost controls? What matters in safety reporting? What matters in quality? What matters in progress and in costs and in productivity? And when do they need that information? Specifically creating different automated timeframes for when you have meetings, when you need information to progress your work. The value created in making sure that our transparency lines up with your needs is so key that we want to take the time in the project to define that. Now, that could be on a small project, simply saying who needs the information and when, and we'll send automated standard set of reports that we already have. On bigger projects, we're going to dive deeper into collaborate, talk about what is the insight you want to know. Do you want to know simply how many observations were done per day and how many focus audits, or do you want to know what we talked about and why, what insights did we learn? We can have the ability to share as deep and as rich of information on safety and productivity and cost as you need to help your work be successful. In Optimize, the value we are creating here is in the planning, not in the plan itself. The planning creates the value. The next step in our process is called share. What's the good of a plan if no one has it, if no one sees it, if no one uses it? So in share, we are sharing the job plan, both written and digital, with everyone, all of your stakeholders, all of our stakeholders, the entire plan. We value transparency. We're going to be in share explaining the measurables and their importance to everyone. Highlight the specifics by stakeholder to ensure all players know the why and the how to deliver. Why does it matter to inspection or quality, and how do we make sure we deliver on that? Right down to a first-year technician who simply knows he needs to participate in a toolbox talk every day, and he needs to do one safety observation every day. If that is his contribution, we want to know, and we want to tie his activities and his behaviors and his contribution to the project's success, because a project is made successful by a team. Through the share process, we're also wanting to spot gaps, remove any assumptions, and make some adjustments before we go to execute. If we share with project controls the dashboards and the insights that we're going to give them, and they realize actually that's not what they need it this way, we want to be able to make those adjustments and start the project off with everyone in full alignment. So having the time to share the plan is super critical for ensuring that when we move into perform, that the work is going to go exactly as everyone expects. Ensuring each team member and all client stakeholders are aligned. know their role and their contribution to success is so important in every project, and yet it is often underlooked except at the planning and at the leadership level. Sharing the plan is about the team and you, the client, and getting feedback before execution. It's not about the document or the planner. This is about sharing information to make sure we are in alignment. The value we create in our share phase is sharing the plan with everyone involved. Perform. Well, it's now time to be front stage. Execute the agreed plan. Perform is more than just about completing the task. It's about communicating. It's about collaborating. It's about having total transparency throughout the perform phase to address both progress and change. With a well-built plan and our systems, we can accommodate plenty of change. As a specialty contractor, sometimes a project, particularly a turnaround, might have 30, 40, 50% change as it relates to our kinds of work because of found work activities. Things happen. We need to be adaptable. We need to be able to innovate. So it's about working the plan and having the freedom and the flexibility to make changes. Using our Innovator Live system, all of our client stakeholders and our crew are provided the right information at the exact agreed time. We're providing deep safety insight, productivity trends, task progress, cost reporting with feedback and coaching to course correct quickly to stay on plan. The deeper insight into all of our systems is that it gives supervision and every stakeholder actionable insight and coachable insight so that the work can be adaptive based on what are the at-risk conditions, what are the productivity issues, what's slowing us down, what are the cost implications, what are the productivity implications. These are all so key, and yet most of us over our careers have struggled with one or more of those aspects on many projects. But we're proactively thinking about the found work and contingency for both craft and assets in detail. The value captured in performing to the plan is also the flexibility to effectively capture found work needs and real-time data transparency to keep the project on course. Perform is not just doing the work. It's all of the things that need to happen with course corrections on the compass along the journey to make sure we hit the target. Hit the target is what perform is all about. And that requires flexibility and agility, and that requires data. We value always learning, always growing, always improving, daring, reaching, aspiring, and striving for things to get better. This is a cultural value of Innovator. It's one of our core values of always growing. But it also applies with our clients and finishing off a project by making the next project better with a simple, streamlined system to do just that, what we call transform. Transform is the method that we go through to not just go through a lessons learned exercise, but actually engaging with each and every one of our client stakeholders individually and together to get unique insights from their perspective. It starts off with, as soon as the project is over, we're going to do a net promoter score survey with each stakeholder, asking you specifically to measure us based on the outcomes and the things that you told us matter. The Project Transform process streamlines lessons learned to ensure we are always growing and getting better together. By stakeholder, what worked? What didn't work? What are your improvement ideas? What are the actions that need to be implemented? By who? We do this both digitally and in person. All the wisdom comes from learning and not by being perfect. I've never learned anything by doing it right. I don't know about you, but all of the things that I've learned, the experience of almost 30 years in this industry, came from things I messed up and I had to learn from. Some were whoppers, some were minor. Every one of them were valuable as long as you use the past as information to get better. And our entire transform process is about making sure that we both get better together and that we grow and we have a tighter relationship. So the next project and the next project is safer, more cost effective, and more productive each and every time. But it's simple and we do it on every single job. In Transform, value is captured by learning and implementing the most impactful lessons swiftly, regularly, and continuously. The value optimizer method comes together with both of us. It starts off by us looking for and finding the ideal innovation clients, ones that are collaborative, that have a strong safety culture, and that are seeking value first, then price. And then taking that and applying it to a simple 6-step process. Find a fit, collaborate, optimize, share, perform, and transform our experience so that the next project gets better and better. And when we do this in a repeatable way, we are constantly ensuring that those projects create more and more value for you and for us together as partners. Next time on Innovation Nation, we're going to be talking about innovation in commitment to results, commitment to level 3 value. Our process is called the Pay Once Promise. We're going to talk about that next. See you soon.